morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Sam here, United People's TV, kicking off the international break. Yes, another one. Yes, there's nearly 2 weeks between now and our next game against Everton, but we can sit back, we can relax as the league's most informed team. I swear on my life, I think we all had the same reaction when that stat came out, but it's completely true. Nobody's picked up more points over the last 5 games of Man United. We are going to be speaking about that win over Luton at the weekend. We'll brush over it towards the later part of the show. But this international break could well be, and it should well be, the time when we get the most significant change in ownership at this football club since 2005. Is it the ownership change we wanted? No. The Glazers are staying in majority capacity. But is it the beginning of something genuine, tangible, something that's actually going to make a difference? That's what we all hope for. I'm going to run through the latest from David Ornstein on the Ratcliffe takeover, what Mike Keegan is saying, and when the announcements are expected, because as is the case with United, it's like, oh, it's going to be Monday. Oh, never mind, it's not going to be Monday. That's Sir Bobby Charlton's funeral. Okay, maybe it'll be this week. Oh, it might be this week. Oh, maybe it might be this week. Maybe it'll be next week. Speculation here, there, and I think everyone's tired of it, and I know that. But good morning to everyone. Let me see who's down here from the member gang. Good morning to you, John and Mania. We've got Lawsy Ray, Garlic Bread Man. We've got John, Andrew, Alex, Anthony, Josh, Richard, Darren. We got Stu, you're there. Peter, you're there. Saeed, Chris, Rejo, who's on Facebook. We've got Matt Frost. Good morning to you. We've got Ant, you're there as well on YouTube. Josh, I'm sure you're there too, man. Good morning to everyone. Who's on Facebook? Someone else on Facebook there. Edridge, you're there. Who's down here? Daryl, Chris, Mark, Onyi. Good morning to everyone. I think it is a good morning. I've said good morning quite a few times now. Any United fan watching United right now, if you tell them, oh, yeah, we're the league's most informed team, you'd be like, okay, I believe you. But we are. That's why I've got a smile on my face. I tell you what, there's 7 people in the comments now who've got smiles on their faces. Ian, you just gifted 2 memberships. And Chris, you've gifted 5 to kickstart the week. We have now done, by the way, let me get another sort of gong out. Bang. We've now done 2 returns of the arms inside Discord in the members only chat. And the last 2 ones, they've been like, it's been me and like 10 of you, me and like 11 of you, just sitting here having a chat before the game. If you're not on Discord, I'm telling you, and I can't say it any more times, that is the hub and the home of the community. And I'm really trying to make the most of it. I'm kind of struggling with how many things are going on at this moment in time. Speaking of things that are going on, can we just say here, we have the new episode of the podcast recorded last night. It was me, it was Morgs, it was Jake, and it was Bal. So Morgs making his debut. We had Chris Meller making his debut the week before. These are all lads, by the way, that I've sort of become friends with over the last, I don't know how many years of traveling and watching United, especially away in Europe. We've all been some places together and all good lads. And it was just a chat about the Copenhagen game that Morgs was at, the Luton game, and a little bit on the takeover as well. I think you'll like it. If you don't, well, that's up to you. But if you want to, the link to the podcast is there. And yeah, there are so many different types of content which I'm trying to do constantly 24/7. So I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, the arms came back for the last couple of games. Really, really enjoying it. It's more of an informal place. It's just audio only. It's just me chatting to a few of the members in the build up to the game. So if you do get to come on the arms, you'll get a little bit more of a personal one-on-one rather than the big old busy live shows that we have here. What I would say is happening today, which of course is really important, is Sir Bobby Charlton's funeral. If I remember correctly, I believe the procession is passing through the back of Old Trafford at around about 2 o'clock. I don't know the exact timings, but there will be the funeral will be going past Old Trafford, and anybody who wants to show their respect for Sir Bobby Charlton, that's where you can do it. And it's, I think Manchester United all day on Twitter, I think they're going to be like dedicating it to the life of Sir Bobby Charlton, and so they should, man. I don't think there will ever, honestly, I don't think there will ever be a I don't think there will ever be anybody who symbolises Manchester United as an individual, who symbolises Manchester United more than Sir Bobby Charlton. It's 1:30 going past Old Trafford. Sorry, it's not 2 o'clock. It's 1:30. Thank you very much. Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, man, if you can, go and pay your respects. Right, let's move on to the main talking point today for sure is going to be this. In the main talk, the international break is normally a time where, everyone moans about the fact that football's 2 weeks away and everyone, the football conversation kind of dies down. But it's going to be potentially a very significant one for Manchester United. And I really, really hope it is. And I'll be honest, a lot of it is based in hope at this moment in time when it comes to the Ratcliffe takeover. Is he going to bring any real change? How much change can a man who's only going to own 25% of a football club change in the overall football club? We all have our concerns. Stephen, you're saying, I'm so sick of this takeover crap. We all are, dude. We are coming up to the year anniversary. In 9 days' time, it will be precisely 1 year since the Glazers statement came out. Strategic investment alternatives. I remember jumping on the live stream with you. I remember cracking some cans. I remember the excitement that there was. And it was genuine excitement. Thinking, finally, we've got it. It's here. And then it's kind of all died down a little bit. Now, David Ornstein was speaking on NBC Sports. And he was sort of confirming the details that have been going around. The announcement on the Ratcliffe deal. Now, this is a big thing, right? The announcement might happen, but the actual takeover itself is going to take a lot longer. All right. Because they've still got to, after the announcement is made, because it has to be made to the New York Stock Exchange, because Manchester United are a publicly traded company. Any deal like that, which would affect the ownership structure of the company, has to be legally announced. If the Glazers could just not tell anybody, they probably would just do that, but they can't. They legally can't. So that's why the statement to the New York Stock Exchange is going to be the big next step. And that's fully expected in these next 8-9 days. The thing that will take longer is, of course, Jim Ratcliffe's got to go through the fit and proper owners test model and the actual ratification of the deal itself. I mean, it's going to be complicated because the Glazers have made it complicated. The dual share structure, 25% ownership, but you can only own part of the sporting side. What about the full takeover stipulations? I don't think we'll ever be privy to that information. It's just going to be about what we're told. But Mike Keegan, of course, who's been leading from the Qatari side of things throughout the entire takeover process, this is what he said. No documents have been signed yet, but the saga is the end of the saga is in sight. Those with knowledge of the situation say there is no chance the agreement could be announced this week. So that's what he's saying. But next week is more likely. The anniversary, of course, as I said there, is in 9 days' time. We should absolutely be getting an announcement before then. Now, I think I already know the answer to your question here, but I'll ask anyway. What concerns do you have? Maybe that's the wrong question to ask. So what do you envisage happening in the next month? What do you envisage happening in the next month? Let me go down there. I think there's a super chat there from Jibak. I'll read this out and then I'll read some other comments out as well. Jibak, you're saying, always wondered how Sir Bobby felt about the club in recent years. Performance goes up and down, but the aberration of the values at the club is staggering. That's why you know full well what I felt about the Greenwood situation. That won't change. I think the club has done so much wrong on and off the pitch. He probably did. Because, yeah, it's not just standards on the pitch that have fallen at Manchester United. It's just standards everywhere. Right, what are we saying down here? What's going to happen in the next month? Damn all. Is that a thing? Damn all? Nothing, says John. Nothing, says Devo. Nothing, says Odie. Not a lot, says Philippe. Sweet FA, says Andrew. You have to laugh, you know, cry. I'm trying to think of what I envisage happening. I've done my video. I did my video yesterday. Probably went too early with the video, judging by how few of you actually watched it. But it's something that I wanted to speak about. And I think the reaction to that video really goes to show the sense of apathy that a lot of people have towards the takeover now. Like, everybody's tired about having conversations of what might happen and what could happen, and everybody just wants to see something happening now. I think that was the impression I really got from the reaction to that video, is that nobody really has the energy anymore to speak about, "Oh, these are the things that." So that video there was, "These are the 5 things that I think that Jim Ratcliffe should be doing immediately as soon as this takeover happens." Now, as soon as and this is the thing that I've if I'm gonna say is the most important thing, in the short term, I'd say it's the most important thing, is so Jim Ratcliffe should be getting, in the next 9 days now, the takeover announcement to the New York Stock Exchange that 25% of the club is going to be sold to Ineos and to Jim Ratcliffe. That's what we should be getting. What we need to know straight away, I actually didn't write it in there, but we need to know exactly how much sporting control that truly is. Like, does that mean Jim Ratcliffe and Dave Brailsford and Ineos, they are now completely in control of the footballing side, and immediately? Because that's the thing. There's going to be 2 points here. There's going to be an announcement to the New York Stock Exchange about the Ratcliffe takeover, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's got the keys. You know what I mean? Like, when you're buying a new house, the handover of the keys, when you can actually go in your new house, that won't technically happen, I don't think, until the fit and proper owners test is done. So does that mean the Glazers are going to give Ratcliffe that sporting control and power before he's done the fit and proper owners test? That would be my sort of worry. And you're saying you want a detailed statement once the deal is done. That's exactly what I want, man. I've said it. It's communication. Communication is going to be Jim Ratcliffe's biggest tool to win over doubters, to win over United fans who don't think that he can do anything. All right. The only memory that, well, not the only memory, the lasting memory from the Glazers for me will be that lack of communication and just the amount of times they lied and just didn't follow through and didn't tell anybody what was going on and just hid in Florida because it suited them. Ratcliffe has always taken a very public approach to this whole thing. He was at Old Trafford for those meetings. He will do interviews. He will, like, I've in that video, I ran through the statement that he released to Nice fans 3 years into the ownership. And that was when he was describing about the mistakes that they've made so far, the fact that Dave Brailsford had come in and they were conducting the audit, and the plans going forward. We want to know those plans. And as I said, communication. Where are United going to be in a year's time? Okay, what's the genuine roadmap to get there? I don't think we can reasonably expect to hear, okay, we're going to spend X amount on a stadium, we're going to spend X amount on this. We won't get figures, but we'll get pledges. And remember, by the way, as well, let's see if we can pull this up on screen here. If I can get the statement. There you go, here. Right. Because again, if we're talking about information and facts, there's something that we can learn from this in terms of pledges. Okay. Because obviously Ratcliffe and Ineos tried to buy Chelsea. I mean, anybody who followed that whole Chelsea sale looked at that Ratcliffe bid and went, really? Because the Ratcliffe and Ineos bid came in really late. It came in after the preferred bidder had been chosen. And lo and behold, they had absolutely nothing. They had no chance of ever getting it. But inside this offer was, of course, a massive pledge of investment in Chelsea. Let's go down here and get the numbers. Where is it? There you go. Right. That there was the statement that was a statement. Remember, there was a statement that came out for the Ratcliffe and Ineos bid for United as well, which was a little bit weird. It actually came out like a day after. I thought that PR thing was wrong at the start. But it's this part here. because the proceeds of the sale of Chelsea, I think aren't they still like locked up? They were supposed to be completely donated to charity, but I don't even know if that money's been released yet. Anyway, they pledged 1.75 billion to invest into Chelsea. And that's investing in, I mean, whatever it would have been, their new stadium plans, new players. I have no idea. But they pledged 1.75 billion, Ineos and Ratcliffe did, to Chelsea. So does that mean that once this 25% takeover has happened, that we should reasonably expect that same pledge to happen for Manchester United? We don't know that. Of course, that was for the full purchase of Chelsea rather than a 25% purchase of Manchester United, and rather than only really Sporting control. So I don't know whether we can completely take that as a parallel and then go, oh, we should absolutely expect that. Probably not. But it's interesting. I'll be interested to see what happens. I want information. We all want information. It's the one thing that we've been starved of this whole time is facts. We've been stuck in this perpetual cycle of speculation, and I've tried my best here on the channel to try and navigate my way through it and not feed hysteria. And it's been nigh on impossible. Because even if you're like, no, I'm only going to run with those that I trust, and then all of a sudden, 6 hours later, something else is being said by somebody else, and I'm normally feel like I'm pretty good here on the channel in keeping on top of the correct news to listen to and the correct news to ignore. But I've been burned plenty of times during this whole takeover process, and that's why the apathy just exists among everybody. And you don't think that he's going to be pledging anything until he gets that full takeover? Well, we don't even know if that full takeover is a possibility, of course. And this is something I said in the podcast yesterday, right? I said that anybody, and I understand, and I think a lot of it is fair and justified, anybody can have concerns about Jim Ratcliffe and a 25% takeover and what change that might truly bring to our club. But what I would say, and then, of course, there are so many people that are just looking at anything to do with Ratcliffe as kind of just through red mist, I suppose, because they really wanted the Qatari takeover. They really wanted 100% takeover of the club, and they really wanted the Glazers gone. And absolutely anything else is crap by comparison. My point to that would be, Jim Ratcliffe might not be that 100% takeover that I think we all wanted. Right? But he also is Britain's richest man and is a self-made billionaire and knows business. And he isn't going to buy, he is not going to invest 1.5 billion of Ineos's money and 240 million of his own personal money into Manchester United without that pathway for a full takeover to be there, in my opinion. And again, that's and this is where I know that we're going to go back to that circle then. Well, we're just speaking in opinions and speculations. He might not be what you want, but he's not a dumb businessman. And that's I suppose that's the thing I'm holding on to about whether or not this is going to bring some real true change. Let's hope so. But as far as everything is being said from Ornstein, from Mike Keegan, from everybody, we are looking like an announcement is going to be made at some point in the next 9 days. All right. And 9 days time, it will be the 1-year anniversary. It feels like the Glazers have played this game the whole time. Like when they first spoke to the Rain Group, they said, right, okay, so what day is it? It's the 22nd of November, 2022. He goes, right, okay, we've got 1 year to get this done. Ignore all the noise about anything else. We've got 1 year to get this done. And it feels like that's kind of what they've done, and they've just squeezed and taken as much time as possible on this. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Sam, Robert's saying, Sam, the 25%, whose shares is he buying? Is it new shares being issued? Robert, again, this is down to the information or the lack thereof. We've seen reports suggesting that there could be a dilution of shares, which means new shares are released, which means Ratcliffe buys those shares. The Glazers then don't have to sell any shares, but the value of the shares each individually share goes down because there's more shares in there. And therefore, that 1.5 billion that Ineos are paying doesn't actually go into the pockets of the Glazers. That then gets reinvested into the club. But Man United have done share sales before, and the Glazers have just taken all the money out of the club. And that was one thing that always annoyed me about the concept of a 25% takeover, because if Ratcliffe just buys out the Glazers shares and they get all the money, then it means that Man United still need all the investment on top of it. But if they release new shares, then that could be a way for them to give Ratcliffe ownership of 25% of the club without actually having to sell any share. But we don't know that yet. We don't know that. And this is what we're starved of information. We need to know the actual purchase structure. We need to know about the actual full takeover plans. We need to know about the actual dates to do with everything. We need to know about the investments that's going to be going into it, when the actual changes are going to happen. Lots of things. Lots and lots of things, which I hope, my God, we better get some information. That's what I mean. Communication is going to be key for whether this Ratcliffe takeover is successful or not, as far as fans are concerned. Because without the communication, you're just going to be stuck in this perpetual cycle of constant speculation, and one person saying one thing and one person saying another. Like L Triple B is sitting down there. Last week it was said the announcement will be this week. Now they're saying next week. Yeah, the goalposts have constantly been moved and changed on a day by day, week by week basis when it comes to this takeover, because everyone's been guessing, because it has been NDA, because the Glazers do not release any information, and now the whole journalism industry has been stung by that. Oh, look at that, man. Max and Gungshi coming in as a tag team, 5 gifted memberships each. Yeah, man, you legends. I'll tell you what, we've got some positive stuff to speak about next. One big one there. One big one. 8 in the year. Andrew, what a great community this is. It really is. So many of you, you're still not on the Discord. I don't know what I can say now to get you on the Discord. It's free. It's amazing. We've got a great mod set, a set of mods in there that try and help you understand it all, and it's a proper home for everyone. If you want to come and enjoy it. Now let's speak about some of the honestly, some of the craziest stats I've seen. I know this picture's not from the game against Luton, but it absolutely was my reaction at full time. Do you see Bruno's reaction at full time? He was angry at the ref. He was really angry at the ref. Simply because Man United were on the counter attack with Marcus Rashford. But that game there against Luton was one where, for the second game in a row, we exerted total control, complete control, and we had so many chances, man. We had so many chances. Clear-cut chance. We had 3 real clear-cut chances. We couldn't bury them. But Man United came away with the win. Lindelof got the goal. And I tell you what, right? And you all know full well what I think about Erik ten Hag. How much I've defended him over the last, what was it, 2-3 weeks? Was it last week we had the City and the Newcastle games, and it got low. And that's when you got the conversations that came out about Ten Hag's lost the dressing room. And then the leaks came out. McGuire and Sancho are angry at Ten Hag, and then it's like, here we go again. And I staunchly defended it. If you look at that, and then you look at where we are now, it makes you do this. It's a proper head scratcher. This next 5 minutes, I feel like it anyway. It is for me. I'm not sure if it is for you. Proper head scratcher. Man United, right? The season that we have had so far, it feels like there's been no momentum. What's been our best win in the league? Somebody let me know. What's been our best performance in the league? We've played 12, we've won 7. Have you ever looked at Manchester United's fixtures? We can go back through and look at this. The league was. I can't really remember. Let's have a look. There's none to stand out straight away. 2-0 against Forest. Let's have a look. We haven't won any game by more than 1 goal. Let's go back here to August. Wolves at the start of the season. Well, that was painful. Forest 3-2. Jeez. I mean, that was good because we came from 2-0 down, but that in its, I mean, Probably you're going to be looking at that maybe. The Forest comeback. My God, we are scraping the barrel. Burnley away 1-0. Nah, not really. That was probably the best performance of the season overall. Lost against Palace. Jeez. Beaten Brentford with the 2 McTominay winners. Sheffield United away. Man, it's probably that. You probably are right. That's going to be Man United's best league performance of the season. Going 2-0 down at home to Nottingham Forest is probably the game where our win was our best win of the season. I think, well, we played better football than that. I think we deserved more away at Arsenal. That probably would have been our best game this season. But that's that's hilarious because Man United, look at the table. We are 6th in the table. We're 7 points off top. We're what? 6 points off top 4. We are absolutely within. We despite what feels like such a woeful start to the season and the constant speed bumps that we've had, we're still absolutely in the running. And not only are we in the running, and this is the thing that I saw this and I had to make sure that wasn't a troll account, right? Man United are the most informed team in the entire league. I'm not even lying. And that's kind of why I've got a smile on my face, because we've just done it there, and I'm being completely honest. That's probably the best performance that we've had. I mean, you might say that Burnley away and keeping a clean sheet was better in the context and the circumstances, maybe. But hey, we're scraping the barrel here, right? The point here, we're scraping the barrel, and we are 6 points behind a Tottenham 5 points behind a Tottenham Hotspur team, which has been absolutely incredible. Bernard, you saying I'm going with the eye test versus stats? Yeah, for sure. But my point here is football rarely across the course of a season will go in one straight direction, one lovely continuous path of progress. That rarely happens in football. All right. Across the course of the season, you get some ups and downs and some ins and some outs. And everything up until this point, Manchester United, it felt like purgatory watching United. Like, when was the last time you fully enjoyed a game? When was the last time you could watch a game? The Crystal Palace game was the last time I watched a game of football. That was when Amrabat came in and he played at left back, and we were like, look, there he is. And I felt like he was going to be the difference maker. But yeah, we've been Heartburn FC. That will change. That will change. And isn't it funny now how you're looking at the league table, and as soon as Spurs lose Maddison and Van der Ven, then all of a sudden we can talk about injury problems. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Newcastle, you got Kieran Trippier arguing with Newcastle fans who need to remember that they would be somewhere in the bottom of the championship if they didn't win the lottery with the owners, in terms of the Saudis just investing constant money there. So now we can talk about how injuries can impact a team. Oh, isn't that really interesting? Isn't that really interesting? Truth be told, you're looking at this Manchester United team now, from an injury perspective, obviously a little bit different. I'll speak about Hojlund and Eriksen in a little bit. But it's Martinez and Shaw who are missing for us right now. It's only 2 players. But I find this hilariously satisfying, I suppose is what I would call it. At a time when there were so many people just trying to say that, Ten Hag was done. Oh, look at he's gone. He's completely gone. Oh, he's lost the dressing room. Okay. So a manager who has lost the dressing room has guided a Manchester United team to being the most informed team out of the entire league. And he is now the fastest manager for Manchester United to reach 30 wins in his first 50 league games. And as a manager at Manchester United in the Premier League, he has taken more points from his first 50 games than Jurgen Klopp did, and that Mikel Arteta did. Like 21 points more than Arteta did. And you're looking at this and this makes you laugh. Man United are also only one behind Arsenal in terms of how many clean sheets we've kept this season. You know what the horrible stat is? And this will keep burning Manchester United. Let me zoom in on this bad boy. I shouldn't, because it might make you cry. I won't say that. Let me open this. Right. Let me change the colour of that. Get my little screen annotator working. That one there. Manchester United over here. That goal difference. -3. I mean, look at the goals scored here. Don't need to zoom in there. Look at the goals scored compared to everybody else. Man United have scored 13 goals this season. 13. Right? Villa have scored 29. Spurs 24, Arsenal 20. Look at that. City have got 32. And of those 13 goals, Marcus Rashford has scored 1. And no other attacker has scored a goal for Manchester United in the Premier League this season in 12 games. In 12 games. How the hell are we 6th? How on earth are we 6th? If you heard that as like a random pub stat, true or false? Manchester United, after 12 games, despite only one attacker scoring 1 goal all season long, are 7 points off top. You look at that. There is no way that we should be 6th in that table, but we are. And that little bit of staying power of the fact that we've managed to somehow stay in some sort of contention, I think is a bit of a credit. I say a bit of credit. It's a massive credit to Erik Ten Hag. I think one thing I got categorically wrong with Ten Hag, and with the understanding of him as a manager, right, is I really thought he was. I was expecting the Ajax philosophy at United. I was really expecting the possession football, and I still know that's coming. However, what I didn't realize is how player-focused Ten Hag's system is. And that's the thing, right? Now that you've taken Martinez out of the system because of injuries, you've taken Shaw out because of injuries, you've taken Casemiro out because of injuries and form, and he was never the answer anyway. He was a random alternative to De Jong, which was a completely different profile of player, but the club panicked. When you take out those players from Ten Hag's system, he switches up the system. Instead of like continuing, he tried to anyway. Remember last year when we were trying to play out from the back with the ball and he was like, well, that's not working. His adaptability as a manager is the reason that we have managed to stay in contention. Now, you might not enjoyed watching it this whole fucking season. You might not have enjoyed watching it, but that approach is the reason that we have managed to stay where we are now. So that by the time that Shaw does come back, that other players do come back, we actually are in a bit of a conversation. And look, and look, the football fine margins, right? If that offside against Arsenal, that Garnacho offside, millimeters, by the way, so it could absolutely have gone the other way, and it would have been the equal argument. Take 3 points off of Arsenal, 24. We're then on 24. We'd be level on points with Arsenal. Simply by that one moment. We really have had an absolute honking season so far. As I said, we just went through there, and I'm being totally honest. That's probably the best you've got. Best win we've got is coming from 2-0 down after 4 minutes against Nottingham Forest at Old Trafford. and we're 6th. Fair play. And for me, that is not a manager that has lost the dressing room. A manager who has lost the dressing room does not get last-minute winners. 2 against Brentford, does not get a last-minute winner against Fulham. It just doesn't happen. All right? But my word, at some point, the luck has to switch. We have dealt with mad injuries all season long, and now Newcastle are coming into that patch. They have been in that patch for a few weeks. Spurs have just found out what happens there. Lo and behold, Postecoglou's team, I know, sit here like, oh my God. Postecoglou's got a very good starting 11, but the squad isn't quite there yet. And the reason that Ten Hag's squad isn't there yet, I think, is largely due to a summer of misdirection. Largely due to a summer where he was in control of the targets when he should not have been. I love him as a coach and as a manager. I do not like him as an overall authoritarian at our football club. We're still in the Fergie model. Fucking hell. Like, get over it. And that's why this Ratcliffe change is so significant. For me. Anyway. If someone like Jean-Claude Blanc comes in as a CEO, if someone like Paul Mitchell comes in as a sporting director, and Ten Hag, for want of a better phrase, now he's not demoted. It's just that his focus is lasered in on where it should be as a manager, as a coach. Because I have utter belief, like complete belief, that if Ten Hag has the ability and staying power to last, I think, 2 more summers, then I think this squad itself, he'll be able to cope with 3-4 players getting injured, and the playing style won't really change that much. But as it stands, you're taking Martinez out and you're putting in Johnny Evans right now because you have no Luke Shaw either. You're taking out Casemiro from form and you're putting in Scott McTominay. And that's kind of out of choice, really, because he's got Amrabat. I'm just amazed. I think that's the thing I wanted to say, that I called it surprising stats, and it really is surprising. I think Ten Hag has showed some sort of mad staying power throughout all these injuries and all the crap football that we've played. We're somehow the most informed team in the league. All the luck that seems to be going against us, and it has been consistently, week in, week out, this game-changing decisions that are going against us and nothing really going for us. Even against Luton, it wasn't really shown on the replays on English TV, but McGuire was taken down twice in the area by a Luton defender for what looked like significantly less than what Hojlund was given a penalty away for against City when Rodri decided to spin. We need, you know exactly what we need, right? It's not rocket scientists to notice this, okay? That game against Luton should have been significantly easier. I could quickly hear before I move on. 2 absolute. Oh, thank you so much, man. I love this community, man. I love it. Wake up on Monday morning and it's Monday, man. I remember the community's here. And like, big up, Alex and Anthony. You gifted 5 memberships each. Little double spank. 10 more of you come into the Discord. Come on. But here, right? 3 different examples. Rasmus Hojlund in the first 10 minutes. Like the ball, like Rashford did exactly what we spoke about. I did a video saying this is how Hojlund easily scores 20 goals. Like Hojlund's positioning, like attacking positions, right? These are, in my opinion, the sort of things you can coach it into a player, but he's so natural. You know, somebody who like he starts moving towards one part of the penalty area and the defender follows him, but then he just drives to the other side and all of a sudden he's got like 4 yards of space. That ball goes in from Marcus Rashford and you're thinking full well, you're like, 1 second here, I'm on the wrong screen. Right. You're thinking Hojlund is definitely bagging that. To be fair, it was a pretty good save, all right? I'll give the keeper that. It was a pretty decent save. But Hojlund kind of went with his thigh, kind of felt like he got a little bit stuck in two minds. I didn't really quite know what to do. But it's so natural that I know that consistently I would expect Hojlund to put himself in a position like this at least once a game. At least once a game. And if we have the creators, and we do, we got Bruno, Rashford, that was a good cross from him, but he's going to have to get better. Is he going to end up playing on the right-hand side to feed him a little bit more rather than cutting inside and shooting? Possibly. Rashford on the right, I think, is going to be better for the team. I think it might be a little bit worse for Rashford. He will have to reassess himself. But Hojlund gets in those positions so often, and he will do. And Rashford up there was probably, I think, out of all three of these chances, I think Hojlund bagging that one is the one that absolutely should be going in. All right. Garnacho up here, I couldn't believe that Garnacho took a touch. The ball from Hojlund, the little turn, it was great centre forward play. The little turn and the weight of the pass through to Garnacho, he didn't actually need to like break his stride. He could have easily just wrapped his right foot around it, opened his body up into the corner, and it would have been a really nice, easy goal. But Garnacho kind of hesitated a little bit, took a touch or two. Luton closed him down. But then that Rashford one there, it was a classic Rashford finish, right? Took it under his step, head down, foot straight through it, laces, straight to keeper. I think a little bit more of a confident Rashford can kind of. It's not that he would finesse finishes aren't really Rashford's cup of tea. He doesn't really open his body up, curl his foot round it. But he would have opened up his sidestep, and it would have aimed it right in that corner there, instead of straight to keeper. Because when you're looking at the space there, he's got tons of space there. But all three of those gilt-edged chances, we missed all three of them. This is exactly why our bloody goal difference is sitting at -3. And I repeat that. Our goal difference is sitting as -3. Newcastle's goal difference is 17 better than ours. And they've got one less point. Man, their defense is crap. As I said, this is almost equally as a surprising stat. Man United kept clean sheets into back-to-back Premier League games now. Onana's only one clean sheet off being. I think Onana's going to keep getting better across the course of the season. He's definitely has had a shaky start, but he's certainly overcoming it. And somebody who really is, if I'm looking at the negatives of the finishing from our strikers, and that it feels like that's kind of just, if there's a few things that need to change, right? Number one is luck. All right. We've got to start getting some VAR decisions. We've got to start getting a deflection like City against Chelsea yesterday. Absolute ridiculous deflection of Thiago Silva. Massive stroke of luck. But you make your own luck. City were aggressive and attacking in that position. They got a shot from the edge of the box. So you make your own luck. And I think that's what United have got to be better at. We've got to be better at coping with sort of United's players play like me as a fan when I'm watching. You know, when you feel hard done by. You think, how dare is that? How is that possibly a red card? I can't believe that's happened. And then the heads drop. They lose concentration. That's got to change. The strikers have got to start getting their scoring boots, finding them. Literally, one goal in 12 games between all of them that's just straight up like relegation form. One goal between all of your attackers in 12 games. And you're sixth in the Premier League table. It doesn't match up. Fair play to our midfielders and for our defenders for actually bolstering this. McTominay coming up with, was it 3 goals now in the league? 2 against Brentford, 1 against Sheffield. He might have scored another one, can't remember. Bruno's had a couple. Casemiro came up with a couple at the start of the season. Who else has scored? Sod knows. Other defenders, Varane scored against Wolves. I think, did he score the winner in the opening game of the season? Mad. Now, look, somebody who did play well yesterday. I'm glad that someone mentioned that in the comments. I'm going to speak about Harry Maguire next, but I want to speak about this lad. Again, people, if I'm being totally honest, I think Ten Hag got his priorities in the wrong order during the summer. I understood why he was going after Mason Mount. It wasn't that I drank the Kool-Aid, but I saw where Ten Hag wanted his team to go. And I said he's going to play with one number 6. He's going to play with 2 number 8s. It's going to be a switch from last season when we had a double pivot. And it's exactly what we went to try and do against Wolves, and it didn't work. So much space in behind. The tactics were there, but the tactics were not executed. Mason Mount came on for Eriksen. I'm thinking when Eriksen was going off, I thought it was going to be Amrabat going on. I thought Amrabat would drop in. McTominay and Bruno would then be the more aggressive number 8s. But instead, and this is kind of, again, a bit of a damning indictment of Ten Hag and his signings, really, when you think about it. Ten Hag brought Amrabat in to be that guy, and he actually got overlooked for McTominay in that position. Strange. But Mason Mount came on, and I thought Mason Mount was really, really good off the ball. And I'm pretty convinced that's one of the main reasons that Ten Hag signed him, was because of his off-the-ball work rate. Defensively, he had so much there. And actually going forward, he added something too. Won a couple of good fouls, a couple of decent free kicks. And he wasn't massively dangerous. But Mason Mount was significantly improved, I think, on where Mason Mount has been so far this season. I think he can probably find himself a little bit hard done by. But at the time when Ten Hag has needed his players to the most, like Eriksen and McTominay have stood up in these last couple of games. It might not have been the best performances, but the results have followed. I think Mason Mount will continue to improve across the course of the season. And the thing that's missing from Mason Mount being as impactful as he possibly could be is a physically dominant number 6. But a number 6 on paper, but it's not really a number 6 in reality. It's an Yves Bissouma type player. Somebody whose position is to sit in front of the defense, but somebody who's just so athletic that he's just everywhere and has the quality with the ball at his feet that he can also be a creator. That position there is probably the most in demand, I think, in world football. Correct me if I'm wrong. Proper centre forwards are hard to find, and I genuinely think we've nailed it with Hojlund. I think it's going to take time. People still seem to be getting annoyed, by the way, when you see, where is it? There he is. People still seem to be booing and getting annoyed when Hojlund is taken off. And then you see Hojlund going down holding his hamstring. Hojlund has not completed 90 minutes for Manchester United yet. His game time clearly, obviously, but people still don't want to understand it or see it. He's getting his game time managed. What do you want? Do you want another Martial? Another really talented youngster that just gets massively overplayed, and then his body says no, and then we spend 4 years complaining about the fact that he's never fit? Do you want that? Yeah, you can have it if you want. Or, alternatively, I would rather see my manager managing his game time and taking him off, making sure that he doesn't go back down to 0% battery. Because Hojlund is that guy. It's a really good signing we've made there. Did we overpay? Yep. Does everyone overpay in the transfer market? Yep. Now, Hojlund, injury-wise, he's been taken out of the Denmark team. So is Eriksen. Both of them, they've dropped out. Good. Eriksen went off it looked like a really awkward, I don't know. Kind of like he opened his knee up accidentally. He got his studs stuck in the turf and he turned his knee a little bit. Looked a little bit awkward. He went off. He's not going on international duty, and neither is Rasmus Hojlund. Hamstring-wise, you know what hamstring injuries are like. It's very unlikely, I think, that he's fit for Everton, sorry. And it may well be a case that he isn't fit for Newcastle. And damn, that's 2 big old games for him to miss if he does miss them. But fingers crossed he isn't. And I'm finding it so strange and odd that United fans are genuinely booing it when Hojlund goes off. Like Ten Hag wants to take him off. Yeah, I really, I want to take off my most positive player. Yep, that's what I would love to do. Right? No, he does not, man. He wants Hojlund to play every single minute. But he can't. Physically, he can't. You can see that. He tires towards the end of games because of his style of play. It's high energy. And you're looking at it now, right? The injuries are really starting to pile up for Newcastle. The injuries, like Van de Ven, look completely and utterly fit. He's chasing the ball, ping. There goes his hamstring. Football has become so, in the Premier League, the athletic requirements of Premier League footballers has gone up a lot. If you're looking at how Man City and their team has changed over these last few years, it's changed a lot. Pep was always about tiki-taka, possession-based football. There's no way you say that about City's team anymore. They are a team of absolute bloody units. Physically dominant, powerful. Rodri, Hojlund, Stones, Diaz. Just their team is big. And I'm not just talking about like big Sam Allardyce style players. Like they're endless tanks. It's like Yaya Toure. That's what made him so good at that time. But yeah, injuries. He's not going to be playing during the international break. And I'm very happy that Ten Hag is managing his game time because it's really needed. I'm going to go down here and read a few of your comments out around this. Right, let's go. Let's bring Hojlund's photo back up here. Pressures on Martial to step up, says Paul. I'm being totally honest. I probably would rather play someone else in a false 9 than play Martial. I do not want to see I would much rather try Rashford through the middle, Garnacho on the left, and Anthony or Pellistri on the right. Like I do not want Martial to start for Manchester United. I'm so done with that player, and it's not particularly his fault. You know, I think his body's just never been there, and as I've just explained to you, the fact that the Premier League has become so much more athletic in the last few years. Everyone's got shredded. Everyone's got 6-packs now. Yeah, even a few years ago, you could have a little bit of podge on you. You'd be all right. Not anymore, man. You got to be like a genuine 200-meter athlete to be a footballer now in the Premier League, anyway. What I don't understand is Ten Hag takes the positive players off, yet leaves the underperforming players under. People still moan and complain about that. Dude, Anthony's been dropped for the last 2 games. I think people just. I think it's just part of the internet these days. Or maybe it's just part of society. People will never look at the 95% of what's right. They'll look at the 5% of what's wrong over here. It's not what you said. It's what you didn't say. It's not the fact you took Anthony off for 2 games. It's who else you didn't take off. It's like, bore off, man. just bore off. Because, mate, if you want to find a fault in anything, that's you for life. That is you for life. Because, spoiler alert, there's nothing that is 100% correct in life. Nothing. It's just, mate, you do you, man. It depends. If your energy can really, really go in there and you can hold on to that, then I'll do that. Or you do that. Anthony did actually look good when he came on. Anthony's very much a system player. I think we've all really realised that. Anthony's not like a Jeremy Doku, who's somebody who can make a moment of magic happen out of nothing, really, with the ball at his feet. Anthony's somebody who kind of relies on the overlapping runs, the underlapping runs from midfielders, the system itself to be working perfectly behind him, and then he can sort of jump and shine. And it was a really smart pass, and Rashford should absolutely have buried that. Who should we sign as a number 6? Well, we've got linked to Andre from Fluminense. There's so many more. I think what I'm going to be focusing on this week is centre-backs. I think if there's going to be somewhere where United need to be active in January, it's centre-backs. It's absolutely centre-backs. Martial's main problem is what or isn't between his ears. No, Martial's problem is the biscuit legs that he's got. It's absolutely his biscuit legs. He just can't stay fit. And again, for somebody who's the athleticism of Martial's game it was a strength at the start when he used to run at players. But ever since that's gone, I don't know. Let's end on a conversation I want to have here about. I mean, look, I'm fine eating humble pie, man. There's absolutely nobody I've criticised more heavily than McGuire, and consistently, for what feels like, I don't know, a couple of years now. My mind is made up about McGuire. I still don't think he's ever going to be that player that if we're playing against a team that is pressing us with the sort of physicality and intensity that Liverpool or City or Arsenal or Spurs or Chelsea would and do, Maguire's not that man. However, we haven't really been playing those teams recently. We've been playing Burnley, Sheffield United, Brentford, Copenhagen, Luton, and Maguire's been shining. And football's a crazy game, man. Like, you don't have to look any further than this man right here and that man right there, Marcus Rashford and Harry Maguire, to understand how significant confidence is for a Premier League footballer. All right? Confidence is, I don't know what to put it down as a percentage of how important it is for whether a player's good or not, but it's so significant. It's ridiculously significant. Rashford is completely lost and out of sorts. And Harry Maguire, as he's saying here, he feels vindicated. And I think he kind of has been vindicated. He really has stepped up and into a team which needed him badly because Martinez is out, Shaw's out, Evans, he's now injured, Varane, up and down, dropped for tactical reasons, Lindelof, fitness-wise, not been there. Maguire's been the only ones. Has Maguire been the only kind of centre-back who's always been available this season? You remember that season under, what was it, Solskjaer, where wasn't he the first player, I think, I don't know if I'm making a stat up, was he the first player since Gary Pallister to play as a centre-back, to play every minute of a Premier League season for United? I think that might be correct. And you've just sent it in there as a super chat. And it always, I remember us having so many conversations around that about Maguire. Like, his availability was strong, one of his strongest abilities. And he's one of our most progressive players right now. Fair play to Maguire. I still personally feel that if we come back and we play Everton away and we play Newcastle away, and man, like Maguire against the Newcastle team, man, they are relentless. That's why they got so many injuries. The Newcastle team right now, yeah, welcome to the top table, lads, where you've got to play 3 times a week and your squad isn't there yet. And all of a sudden you're going to start getting injuries. Let's see how Eddie Howe gets on when that style of play won't work. And that's what people keep slagging him for. But Ten Hag's ability to slightly adapt and tweak has been the reason that Man United have come through this period now without the season kind of being done and dusted. And we're like 16 points behind the top 4 or some mad stuff like that. Let's see what goes on, Eddie Howe. Let's see what goes on, De Zerbi. I don't think De Zerbi and Brighton have won a league game in 2 months. Things will swing in the Premier League, man. And despite us swimming upstream the whole time with the informed team in the league, fair play. Let me see what you're saying about Maguire. Why does Maguire feel vindicated? He hasn't displaced anyone. It's due to injuries. Well, he feels vindicated because he's got his opportunity and he's playing now and he's playing every week. And he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet now. Everton away. I haven't watched enough of Everton this season, but Goodison Park is never an easy place to go. It's one of those stadiums that's kind of like it closes in on you. When we come back from this international break, we've got Goodison Park, St James's Park, and wherever the bloody Galatasaray Stadium is. But Istanbul. Maguire, if you can come through all of those and still have this sort of level of performance, then yeah, I will definitely be releasing a Maguire apology video for sure. But as it stands, Maguire is kind of doing what I would expect him to do against it. I'm not saying this like a Roy Keane, it's your job. But against teams that don't press us, that's where Maguire plays well. Do the same thing at St James's Park, at Anfield, at Goodison Park, then we'll speak. Right. That was quite a big wide show. I want to finish on this one point here again. Top of the league when it comes to form, baby. And we've been playing crap. At some point, momentum shifts this season for United. We can literally get lower. We can literally get lower than our attackers scoring 1 goal in 12 games, and that's scoring no goals in 12 games. We are absolutely scraping the barrel for goals, yet we have put together 4 wins out of our last 5. Fair play. But when we come back from this international break, strap yourselves in, because look at this fixture list, and just look at the games we've got, and B, look at how many games we've got and how quickly we've got them. Look, let's finish on this. We've got Everton and then Galatasaray 3 days later, and then St. James's Park. Look at that. 3 ridiculous away days in the space of 6 days, including a trip to and back from Turkey. That right there, I'm glad we've got I'm glad we got an international break. We've actually put a bit of form together, but I'm hoping that we can have a little bit more energy, because my word, those 3 games are going to be seriously testing. And then after that, look, 4 days later, we've got Chelsea. 3 days later, we've got Bournemouth. 3 days later, we've got Bayern Munich. 5 days later, we've got Anfield away. 6 days later, we've got West Ham away. Boxing Day, Villa at home. At least we're not playing Villa away, my word. And then New Year's Eve, we've got Nottingham Forest away. That right there is a hell of a testing tie. Ties? How many games is that before New Year's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. 10 games between the 26th of November and the 30th of December. We better hope that some of our players are back from injury, because it has to be rotation 11. And we know we're not very good at that. But look, thank you all for tuning in. This should be, I like to think you'll enjoy the content this week. What have I got planned? I've got a proper in-depth video coming out on Jean-Claude Blanc about what he did with the French Olympics team, what he did with L'Equipe TV, what he did at Juventus when he joined them after they got relegated, and the success he had there, his whole career to date, to explain to you exactly why he's one of the best in class. I'm also going to do something, hopefully tactically, on Ten Hag and the problems he faced at Ajax and sort of how he overcame those problems and the lessons that we can learn there that we can bring coming forward. I think my video today might have to just be about positivity, because there is so much crap said about our manager. I feel like defending him. Sod knows. We'll have a look. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for gifting memberships. Anybody who does that, you're all legends. I still can't believe we're the most informed team in the league. It literally makes you crack up. Take it easy, everyone.